Hello, it's
Hello.
episode 171 of OnEBoard Chat. Our chat is usually by texting, but today is our second experiment when we want to be live and have this conversation around the way we use the applications. And OnEBoard Crew is all about sharing experiences and best practices. So we are not any formal company. We are just the OnEBoard Crew. Thank you for our experts. Peggy is here. And today the topic is hosted by Molly. So I give the word to Molly, and remember to take the polls. Molly has prepared a poll. It's live on OnEBoard YouTube channel. You can check it by the link in the live chat. Peggy is moderating the live chat, and it's live also on LinkedIn and on X. So use the channel you wish to answer the question Molly is asking. So Molly, to you.
Thank you. So today we're hosting a topic about have you or somebody you know ever experienced a suspended Google Business Profile? So this is an important topic for especially small and local business owners because their Google Business Profile is their thumbprint on Google, so customers can find them. And in my experience, I've worked with several different businesses that they've gone through this process where they have experienced a suspended profile and they don't understand why. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today is why do Google Business Profiles get suspended in the first place? So Google has a very clear, concise list of guidelines that a business owner has to follow in order to make sure that their listing is live. And in my experience, most of the business owners I've worked with that have had this experience, they don't understand the guidelines. For example, one of the things that a business owner has to keep in mind is when they're running a Google Business Profile, they're only allowed to have one location within a 2-hour driving radius of one another. And I've seen this multiple times where business owners will think, oh, I'm going to have a listing for the north side of my town and the east side of my town and the west side of my town. And they don't understand that that's not allowed by Google. To go into a little further detail, there's two main types of Google Business Profiles. There are what we call brick and mortar locations. So these are locations where customers actually come to your business to do business. And then we have something called service area-based businesses. These are businesses like where the business goes to the customer, like a carpet cleaner or a locksmith or a garage door repair company. And working with these businesses, I found that a lot of them really, really depend on their Google Business Profile. I mean, they literally, it's like their lifeline to their business. In fact, I just recently reinstated a tow truck company in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States, where his profile had been suspended for months. And I was actually introduced to him by a colleague of mine, and I was able to get it reinstated. And he was so happy. He said he didn't even know that it was reinstated until his phone started ringing again. And he suddenly realized when his phone started ringing again that his listing had been reinstated. So I'm really super happy whenever I'm able to help business owners get back online.
Yeah, very, very interesting topic, and it concerns each user online as far as we always look for the gas stations around hospital, pharmacies. I've worked with you for one business that got suspended for very stupid mistakes. That's just because they said they're working 24 hours, which is not allowed by the law. It's a legal discrepancy, and they didn't. Even I told them, they said, no, we are not going to change this. And when Google suspended the profile, they had to go with the regulation. So it's not like before you do what just for fun with your business profile. It's something that is strictly to the regulations, to the trade registry, to the licenses. So it's much more complicated. And I wanted to say that the recent procedure is really long. So I sent to all my clients a letter to be very careful how they edit the data on their business, because after a suspension, it's a very long process. I've sent licenses, the trade registry documents for owners, many documents and legal documents, and it got reinstated, but you have to be very, right, like you said, concise who you are, what's your business, what's the plate on your door and everything. So yeah, I don't luckily now have any reinstated business. And please, Peggy, ask your question.
Yeah, so I wanted to say hello to the folks who are in the live chat today. And Andrew asks in the live chat, why is it that merely updating a piece of information on your profile causes a suspension? So many complaints about this in the help forum.
Yes, so to answer that question, it depends. So a lot of times with Google Business Profiles, it's a system-wide situation, right? So if you go in, you make a bunch of changes at once, what it does is it'll trigger the system that there's a lot of activity on the profile, and it doesn't like that. And I know that sounds weird. Like, why would it matter if you make a bunch of changes at once? Because it's your profile. But all I can say is they have filters set up on the system that if you go in and make a bunch of changes at once, it'll flag it, and then that's what causes that to happen.
Yeah, I have the same observation, Andrew, that I visit the profiles weekly, and there is a red dot notification by Google. I always check it and confirm or reject what others suggested for changes. And when the profile is regularly visited and edited for some details, then I'm 100% sure that it cannot happen unless the situation I mentioned, where a major regulation is broken. Otherwise, Google cares to give you hints, and if you follow the notifications, of course, nothing is so bad for the profile. Yeah.
Yeah, as a rule of thumb, I tend to tell my clients and business owners that if you're going to go in and make changes to your profile, make sure and do them sparingly, right? So maybe go in on Monday and update your website, and then wait 2 or 3 days and go in and update your description, and then maybe wait until the next week and go in and update your listing name. So just kind of, you can make changes to your profile, just do it spread out.
Absolutely agree with you, Molly, about this. I got some new profiles to edit, which haven't been touched for like 10 years. So I said to the owner, please be patient, because we are going to check every item slowly. So that's already took us 1 month to check the fields, because they needed new photos, they needed everything to be revisited. So make it step by step.
I have a question. Some of that information, so I'm not managing any businesses, but I do suggest changes as a local guide. How do these suggestions affect your business profile? Could you end up having a suspended profile because someone suggested wrong information, kind of thing?
This is a very loaded question. So to answer your question, yes, actually, and I've experienced this before with some of my clients, where black hat SEOs will go in and they will just start changing everything. They'll put a wrong phone number, they'll put a wrong website, they may leave a negative review. I mean, I have dealt with, and I remember this one client in Los Angeles, bless his heart, he had some competitors, and they would go in every day and change things, and it causes his listing to get suspended 3 times within a month's period. And I remember this explicitly because I couldn't believe that this was happening, right? It was a lawyer, it was a personal injury lawyer, and he was so frustrated, and he would call me up. He's like, yeah, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand, why is this happening to me? And I actually was able to go in and get it reinstated. I had to email one of my colleagues. I'm like, listen, there's something funny going on with this business because he keeps getting suspended. I mean, I know as a rule of thumb, I had the opportunity to speak with the Google Business Profile Community Manager a few years back at one of our summits, at one of our meetups. And I explained this to her, and she's like, they keep this system open source because of exactly what you said, Peggy, because, for local guides who are legitimate people going out, making legitimate updates, they want that functionality. But I think that's one of the reasons why they are going to be updating Google Business Profiles. Spam has been prolific on messages and calls. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think, they're aware of the problem. They're just trying to figure out how to come up with a solution for it.
I think it sounds like a really difficult thing for Google because there are a lot of businesses that don't have up-to-date information. There are businesses that are fake, but just regular legitimate businesses that aren't up to date. So it's really great that someone can say, hey, it looks like the hours aren't accurate here, but they have to strike a balance between what people suggest and what the business owner wants displayed.
Yeah, Peggy, I find this question a very good question because the answers help the businesses discover things. For example, the wheelchair entry, some businesses are not aware that they can give an advantage to their clients by just checking this field. And if you suggest, and I didn't think about it, it's good for everyone. So it's a very nice way to operate the data mutually by helping with the local guides. So I go to the profile and I see the suggestions and I either confirm, yes, I didn't think, oh, it's okay, yes, or I reject it. But I don't think a business would be suspected unless there is a scam, like Molly explained. And I happened to receive a notification by Google that because of the spam on certain points, the profiles are like, Google is like blocking them. You cannot edit anything because everyone is giving fake information, trying to obtain these very important locations. Like there are some really points of interest that get a lot of viewership, and Google sent me, your edit is not live because you can no longer edit this location. It's usually happening to some points of interest for certain touristic attractions, for example, or city marks. I noticed, and I get this was recent change by Google, and I also think that it's reasonable to stop freeze it for a certain time, and until Google finds the facts and says, okay, this is what it is. Yeah. I just wanted to share yes, Peggy, and I will share my profile.
Oh, I just wanted to ask another question for you and Molly. If I was a business owner and I discovered, oh my gosh, my business profile is suspended, does Google offer direct support? Can I call someone up or chat with someone to get some assistance in fixing the problems, or do I need to hire someone?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Google does have the Google Business Profile support forum, right? So you can always ask a question. However, I'm not going to say guaranteed you're going to get one-on-one consultation, like step 1, you need to do this, step 2, you need to do that. And it's been my experience that 9 times out of 10, a business owner is going to have to hire somebody, just because what has to happen first and foremost is an audit needs to be done, right? So we have to figure out what's wrong with the listing. Why did it get suspended in the first place? And I can only speak for myself. I have a very in-depth knowledge of the guidelines. I've been working with Google Business Profiles for over 10 years. I can literally look at a profile, and within 5 minutes, I can be like, all right, this is what your problem is, right? A lot of common mistakes I see are using geolocators in the business name, like including a neighborhood or a city. I've told people this before, unless your business registration actually has your city or your neighborhood's name in it, you're not allowed to do that. I've seen descriptions that just were kind of erroneous, didn't really pertain to what the business actually did. A big one I've seen before is wrong phone number. So I had one scenario one time where they had listed a cell phone number, and it was for an apartment complex. And so I called it, right? I called the number thinking, okay, well, I'm going to speak to somebody at the front desk. And it wasn't. It was a cell phone number, and it was for a property manager. And he was like, who are you and why are you calling me? I was just like, okay, well, that's a problem, because if I'm a customer, if I'm a user looking for an apartment and I'm calling a property manager, that doesn't make sense. Another thing I've seen mistake-wise is subdirectories for websites. So Google, and this is a pain point I've seen this happen at least a dozen times. So a lot of times, especially for franchises, they will go in and they will use a common URL, and then they'll just put the name of their location. And Google doesn't like that. Google specifically likes it to be the domain, subdirectory locations, and then the actual name of the location. I've seen other businesses use subdirectories in general, which is not allowed. It has to be an @ domain. Specifically, they like just the @ domain. But if you are a franchise and you do operate multiple locations, as long as you put those locations within a location directory, you should be good to go. There's several other things I'm not going to spend too much time on, but in my humble opinion, 9 times out of 10, they're going to have to hire somebody who's familiar with how to get it reinstated. There's some other aspects to it, specifically preparing the case, right? So it's just like a lawyer preparing a case to Google. You have to go in, do the audit. You have to make sure you have your documentation. Specifically, they look for a business license or a DBA or liability insurance. So that covers the business side of it. And then they also want to look for a utility bill. So for most brick and mortar locations, that's not a problem. They have internet, they have water, they have electricity, no big deal. But for service area based businesses, since they don't operate out of a physical location, that can be a problem for them. I can tell you that they will accept a utility bill, or excuse me, a cell phone bill. So most service area based businesses, they have cell phone bills. The only distinction, though, is that the cell phone bill has to have the business name on it, which isn't a big deal. I mean, you just call up your cell phone provider, put your business name on it. I will tell you, recently in the last 2 weeks, something that I've noticed that they've been requiring, which is new, is they want a link to a government website. So whether it be the state or the county where your business would be registered, they want to be able to click that link and just go direct to the state or direct to the county and be able to verify that your business is registered. I'm working with several of these right now, and surprisingly, a lot of them aren't on a state or county website, which was surprising to me because I've been running my agency for over 15 years. I've always been registered with my state and local county. So this was a surprise to me that I'm having to actually coach these people to do that. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I wish to confirm also that during the reinstatement process, there are fields for links I use to link the business to media publications, articles, journalists visited and did interviews with the business. It was an art gallery. And that went very well for the reinstatement because it's a proof for Google that this business has references that are official, besides the legal one, but also in public media, standard media. So every link that is valuable. And I also recently repeat, use the standard media. It's the old marketing is always good. Yeah. So I don't know if it's useful to share my business, my personal
Yeah,
business
absolutely.
profile.
We'd love to see it.
It's just some basics. I look for the for Nina Trankova. It's set up in 2016, I think, and I just wanted to scroll and show where the visuals. I recently got this publication about my award, and it's a nice way to distinguish because the internet is visual, and for local businesses, it's good to have some photos. So I linked here and wanted to show you that if you scroll down beside the reviews, you can see the updates. And many businesses don't pay too much attention, that it's a very easy way to draw the attention for seconds, like because of the visuals. That's what I wanted to show, and you can always control the cover photo. So take advantage and see here the profile strengths. So you're seeing the business like an administrator, like inside. And you
Nina,
can check all the fields. Yes, Peggy?
is this just Google search? Are you accessing your business account just from the Google search result?
Usually when I do some edits, I'm on a computer and I keep a link about the location.
Oh dear, we lost Nina.
Uh-oh. What happened?
There's technical issues.
Oh, darn.
I'm sure she'll rejoin us
Yeah, I'm sure she
presently,
will.
but that's the fun of live streaming, when you just never know what's going to happen.
I used to do a show a few years ago called the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, and I was like the Google person. Oh, here she is.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. We're here.
To show the link, and I'm sorry, this is a very technical mistake. It's business.google.com/locations when I open all the locations as the administrator. And also important that certain edits you can do on mobile and others on desktop. It depends. So,
Absolutely.
for example, I wanted to ask Molly about Merchant Center, which I knew
Yes.
it's something old for the USA, but for my country, it's new. So I'm now learning how to use the Merchant Center.
Yeah, so Merchant Center is like an extension of Google Ads. It's really for advertisers that are selling products. So, you know, if you're selling clothing or art or, you know, cooking, cookware, any type of physical product. So with Merchant Center, it's kind of a process, right? So you have to go in, you have to get approved. Normally you can either submit a sheet or a feed. Once you create your sheet or feed, you submit it for approval. The sheet and feed includes information like the name of the product, the price, description, the actual registration number, which I don't remember right now. I forget what it's called. I think it's, yeah, I don't remember. It's like a specific number that's assigned to a product. And then once you compile all of this information, you send it in, you get it approved, and then once it gets approved, you can go in, you can, you know, tweak the different products that get, you know, but it's basically, it's an extension of Google Ads, but it's like a free version of Google Ads, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
So,
that's I noticed that when I'm an administrator of a manager of the Google business profiles, which have e-shop, like a shop, an online shop,
mhm.
I have the option to add some offers and some updates of products via the merchant center that is free of charge. It's a nice addition. So we can drive some physical visitors on the locations to give them hints that there are some promotions going on the online shop. So I find it very interesting for this kind of new attitude towards the merged experiences. What even if the client is in this physical location, they can check online. Yes, Peggy.
Yeah, Andrew in the comments in the live chat says this is basically an online catalog of your products, right?
Yes,
I think
yes,
so. Yeah.
pretty much, yeah. So I actually just set up Google Merchant Center for a local client. He's an embroiderer. He sells polo shirts and T-shirts and caps and varying types of sports wear, if you will. I actually built this website on Shopify, so it's an e-commerce platform. And he's like, well, what about Google Merchant Center? How do we get that set up? And so I worked with him to get the sheet put together, get all the, fortunately, he could just pull that information from his reseller. Like he literally just had to copy and paste what we were selling. And then I was able to get it uploaded. And, obviously pictures are important. You want to make sure I include pictures of whatever products you're selling. But yeah, once I got the, once I got it approved, it immediately goes live. And then when people search for those products, as long as they're live and registered, they should show up.
Yeah, and it's exactly what I showed. For example, if you add a product, an offer for a product, it shows where I clicked on my profile, like a photo, and there's the option of the offer. You can click it, and there's the redeem option. You're already on the website of the online shop. Okay, so if there's no other question, we can wrap up. And again, please check the links in the description of this video and give answers to the poll so we can come up with some conclusions about suspension. Thank you, Molly, for hosting today's topic. It was very informative and I also learned things. Thank you, Peggy, for moderating. We are live next time, but check for our announcement because we now have a lot of live shows to manage. So if I happen to be hosting both, it should be rescheduled somehow because it's very different from the other technical topic tips we give very shortly. Thank you again, everyone, and see you next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Molly, and
Thank you,
thank you for
Molly.
joining us.
Bye.